Lehana sat at her desk in the communication room of the ship Harmony's Edge. The room was quiet except for the soft hum of computers and the beeping sounds from space signals. She had been working for 6 hours straight, listening to radio, waves from deep space. Most of the time, she only heard static or the usual chatter from trade ships. But today was different. At exactly 14:23 ship time, her computer picked up something strange. The signal was weak at first, like a whisper in the dark. Hana turned up the volume and leaned closer to her screen. The sound was beautiful, almost like singing, but there was something about it that made her worried. "Computer, run translation program," she said. The machine started working, trying to turn the alien sounds into words that humans could understand. While she waited, Hana recorded everything. She had been trained to never ignore any signal from unknown sources. The translation took 5 minutes. When it was done, Hana felt her heart start beating faster. The computer showed words on her screen that made her hands shake. The message talked about being surrounded by endless darkness and hope fading with each passing moment. There were mentions of isolation in the void and fear of never returning home. Hana read the message 3 times to make sure she understood it correctly. This was clearly a distress call from some alien ship lost in space. She had never dealt with anything like this before. Her training told her to report it immediately to the captain. She pressed the emergency button on her desk. A red light started, flashing, and Captain Park June's voice came through the speaker. "What is it, Hana?" he asked. "Sir, I have intercepted what appears to be an alien distress signal. The translation suggests a ship in serious trouble. I'll be right there." Captain Park arrived in the communication room within 2 minutes. He was a tall man with gray hair and serious eyes. Hana had always respected him because he never panicked, even in difficult situations. "Show me what you have," he said. Hana played the recording. The alien sounds filled the room, and even though Captain Park could not understand the language, he could hear the sadness in the voice. The computer translation appeared on the main screen. "We drift in the endless dark, far from the light of home. Each cycle brings us deeper into the void. Our spirits grow heavy with the weight of isolation. Will we ever see the warm glow of our star again? The darkness surrounds us completely, and hope becomes harder to hold with each passing moment." Captain Park read the message twice. His face became very serious. "How far away is this signal coming from?" he asked. "According to the computer, about 12 light-years from here, near the Outer Rim territories." "Any other ships in that area?" Hana checked her screens. "No human ships, sir. There are some trade routes that pass through that region, but nothing scheduled for this week." Captain Park was quiet for a moment, thinking. The Outer Rim was dangerous territory. There were stories of pirates and hostile alien groups that attacked weak ships. If some peaceful aliens were trapped out there, they could be in real danger. "Hana, I want you to clean up this signal and prepare a full report. Include the exact location, time of reception, and your best analysis of what kind of ship this might be." "Yes, sir. Should I try to send a response?" "Not yet. We need to report this to Earth Defense Command first. If there are hostile forces in that area, we don't want to put ourselves in danger." Captain Park left the communication room and went to his office. He sat at his desk and opened a secure channel to Earth. The message would take several hours to reach the home planet, but this was too important to delay. He typed his report carefully, explaining everything that Hana had discovered. He made Sure to mention that this appeared to be a genuine distress call from an unknown alien species. The captain also noted that the Outer Rim location made rescue operations dangerous since human military presence in that area was limited. After sending the report, Captain Park called a meeting with his senior officers. The Harmony's Edge was a research ship, not a military vessel. They had some weapons for protection, but nothing that could handle a serious fight with pirates or hostile aliens. Lieutenant Commander Kim Soo-jin arrived first. She was in charge of ship operations and always prepared for any situation. Chief Engineer Oh Min-soo came next, followed by Dr. Shin Yoonji, the ship's science officer. "We have received what appears to be an alien distress call," Captain Park explained. He played the recording and showed them the translation. Dr. Shin Yoonji studied the data carefully. "The language structure is completely unknown to our databases. This could be our first contact with a new alien species. Or it could be a trap," Lieutenant Commander Kim said. "Pirates sometimes use fake distress calls to lure ships into ambushes." "The signal seems genuine," Chief Engineer O said. "The power patterns and transmission methods don't match any known pirate technology." Captain Park nodded. "I've already reported this to Earth Defense Command. They will decide what action to take. Our job is to continue monitoring the signal and gather as much information as possible." Back in the communication room, Hana continued working on the alien message. She ran the signal through different translation programs, hoping to get a better understanding of what the aliens were saying. Each program gave slightly different results, but the main message remained the same. Someone was lost in space and needed help. As the hours passed, the signal continued. It came in regular intervals, like a beacon calling for rescue. Hana noticed that the aliens used beautiful poetic language even when they were in trouble. They talked about songs of sorrow and dreams of distant light. It was unlike any human distress call she had ever heard. She also noticed that the signal was getting slightly weaker. This worried her because it might mean the alien ship was running out of power. If they waited too long to help, it might be too late. Hana prepared a detailed technical analysis of the signal. She calculated the exact position of the alien ship and estimated how long it would take different types of rescue vessels to reach them. She also studied the transmission patterns to learn more about the aliens' technology. When her shift ended, Hana felt exhausted but satisfied. She had done everything possible to help the unknown aliens. Now it was up to Earth Defense Command to decide what to do next. As she walked to her quarters, Hana thought about the aliens floating alone in deep space. She hoped that help would come soon. Space was vast and dangerous, and no one should have to face it alone, especially if they were calling for help in such beautiful, sad words. She did not know that the distress call was actually something completely different, and that her translation had started a chain of events that would change the galaxy forever. Admiral Kim Woo-bin stood in the main command center of Earth Defense Headquarters, looking at the message that had just arrived from Captain Park's ship. The room was full of military officers working at their computers, but everything felt different. Now, the large screens on the walls showed star maps and fleet positions across human space. "Get me General Choi Min-ho immediately," Admiral Kim said to his assistant. Within minutes, General Choi entered the command center. He was a strong man with sharp eyes who had fought in the border wars against the Kepler pirates. Behind him came Defense Minister Song Yuna, a smart woman who made the big decisions about Earth's military. "Show me what we have," General Choi said. Admiral Kim played the alien recording that Captain Park had sent. The translated message appeared on the main screen. All three leaders read it carefully, and their faces became serious. How reliable is this translation? Defense Minister, Song asked. Our best language experts have confirmed it. The message is definitely a distress call from an unknown alien species. They appear to be trapped or lost in the Outer Rim sector. General Choi studied the star map. That's a dangerous area. If hostile forces are operating there, they could threaten our shipping routes. More importantly, Defense Minister Song said, "This could be our chance to show the galaxy that Earth is a reliable ally. We've been trying to build good relationships with other species since we joined the galactic community." Admiral Kim nodded. "If we can rescue these aliens, it will prove that humans can be trusted to help others in need." The three leaders talked for an hour about what to do. Earth had only been part of the galactic community for 5 years. Most alien species still saw humans as newcomers who came from a dangerous planet. Earth was what other aliens called a death world, because it was so harsh compared to their peaceful home planets. Humans were stronger, faster, and more aggressive than most aliens. This made other species nervous, even though humans had always tried to be friendly. A successful rescue mission could change how aliens saw Earth forever. "What kind of force do we need?" General Choi asked. Admiral Kim brought up fleet status reports. "We could send a small rescue team, but if there are hostile forces in the area, they might not be enough. The smart choice is to send a force large, enough to handle any situation." "How large?" Defense Minister Song asked. "I recommend a full battle group, 3 dreadnoughts, support vessels, and Marines for ground operations if needed." General Choi shook his head. "That's not enough. If we're going to do this, we need to do it right. These aliens are clearly in serious trouble. We should send everything we can." Defense Minister Song agreed. "The President wants Earth to be seen as a strong protector of peaceful species. We have the largest fleet we've ever built. Let's use it." Admiral Kim felt excited and nervous at the same time. "You're talking about the entire Third Fleet. That's 12 dreadnoughts, 40 destroyers, 6 carriers, and support ships. Over 200 vessels." "Exactly," General Choi said. "When we arrive, any hostile forces will know that Earth means business." The decision was made. Within 2 hours, emergency orders went out to every major military base in the solar system. Admiral Kang Siwon, commander of the Third Fleet, received his orders while his flagship Iron Thunder was in orbit around Mars. Admiral Kang was a veteran officer who had earned his position through years of hard fighting. When he read his orders, he immediately called his senior staff to the bridge. "We have a humanitarian mission," he announced. "Alien civilians are trapped in the Outer Rim and need immediate rescue. We deploy in 6 hours with full battle readiness." Captain Yoon Do-yun commanded the assault carrier Storm Eagle. When he received his orders, he began preparing his Marine battalions for any situation they might face. His ship carried 5,000 soldiers trained in both rescue operations and combat. Across the solar system, massive warships began moving toward the assembly point near Jupiter. The Iron Thunder was the largest ship in the fleet, almost 2 kilometers long and armed with enough weapons to destroy a small moon. Beside it gathered other dreadnoughts, Steel Victory, Thunderous Might, and Endless Fury. The destroyer squadrons included fast attack ships like Lightning Strike, Rapid Response, and Quick Vengeance. Each destroyer carried advanced weapons and could move faster than most alien ships. Captain Nam Tae-hyung's diplomatic vessel, Peaceful Current, was also ordered to join the fleet. His job was to handle communications with the rescued aliens and any other species they might encounter. As the ships gathered, news of the massive deployment spread through Earth's military. Everyone wanted to be part of humanity's first major rescue operation in alien space. Soldiers and officers felt proud that Earth was showing the galaxy what humans could do when innocent people needed help. Dr. Shin Yunji, the medical officer, on Admiral Kang's flagship, prepared her hospital facilities for alien patients. She had studied many different alien species and knew that their medical needs might be very different from humans. Lieutenant Jin Sua worked in the intelligence section, studying everything humans knew about the Outer Rim territories. She found reports of pirate attacks and hostile alien groups that might be responsible for trapping the peaceful aliens. The fleet assembly took exactly 6 hours. When Admiral Kang looked at his screens, he saw the most powerful military force that Earth had ever sent into space. Over 200 ships waited for his command to begin the rescue mission. "All ships report ready for departure," his communications officer announced. Admiral Kang stood on his bridge, looking at the stars. Somewhere out there, innocent aliens were waiting for help. They probably thought no one would come for them. They were about to learn what happened when humans heard a call for help. "Begin jump sequence," Admiral Kang ordered. "Let's go save some lives." One by one, the massive ships disappeared into hyperspace. The journey to the Outer Rim would take 18 hours. When they arrived, any hostile forces in the area would face the full power of Earth's military. None of them knew that the aliens they were rushing to save were actually peaceful explorers who had never been in any danger at all. Ambassador Ro Hyemi was having lunch in the Galactic Council dining hall when her emergency communicator started beeping. She was eating with Ambassador Vex 9, a friendly robot from the Mechanical Collective, and Ambassador Soft Wind Through Leaves from the plant-like Verdani Republic. "Excuse me," she said, checking her device. The message made her face turn pale. "I need to contact Earth immediately." She rushed to her office in the Human Embassy section of the massive space station that served as the Galactic Council headquarters. The station was home to representatives from over 400 different alien species, and it was usually a peaceful place where diplomats solved problems with words instead of weapons. Hyemi's computer showed her the military reports from Earth. A massive human fleet was moving toward the Outer Rim on what they called a humanitarian rescue mission. The numbers made her feel sick with worry. 200 warships? She said to herself. What are they thinking? She immediately sent a message to the council president asking for an emergency meeting. Then she tried to contact Earth to find out exactly what was happening. The communication delay meant she would have to wait hours for any response. While she waited, other ambassadors began receiving their own reports about the human fleet movement. The news spread quickly through the diplomatic community, and soon Hyemi's office was full of worried alien representatives. Ambassador Zillith, the council president, was a beautiful, crystalline being who glowed with soft blue light. She floated into Hyemi's office along with several other senior ambassadors. "Ambassador Ro," Zillith said in her musical voice, "we need an explanation for this massive military deployment. Our sensors show the largest human fleet ever assembled moving at high speed toward inhabited space." Hyemi tried to stay calm. "According to my government, this is a rescue mission. Earth received a distress call from unknown aliens in the Outer Rim sector." "A rescue mission requires 200 warships?" asked Ambassador Thickshell from the turtle-like Colonian Federation. His species was naturally cautious and feared anything that looked like military aggression. "My people believe in being prepared for any situation," Hyemi explained. "If hostile forces are threatening innocent civilians, Earth wants to have enough power to protect them." Ambassador Gentle Current from the Aquatic Oceanic Confederation made worried, bubbling sounds. "The Outer Rim is where our peaceful merchant vessels often travel. This looks more like an invasion than a rescue. Hayemi felt frustrated. She knew that humans meant well, but she also understood why other species were scared. Earth was still new to the galactic community, and many aliens thought humans were too violent and aggressive. "I assure you that Earth has no hostile intentions," she said. "We are simply trying to help aliens in distress." "But why so many ships?" Zelith asked. "A normal rescue operation would require perhaps 5 or 10 vessels, not an entire battle fleet." Before Hayemi could answer, alarms began sounding. Throughout the space station, the main communication system activated, and an urgent announcement echoed through all the corridors. "Attention all diplomatic personnel. Emergency evacuation protocols are now in effect for all systems within 50 light years of the Outer Rim. Sector. Please report to your embassy sections for immediate departure preparation." The alien ambassadors in Hayemi's office looked at each other with fear and confusion. Ambassador Soft Wind Through Leaves rustled nervously. "Evacuation?" She whispered. "Do they think the humans are going to attack civilian targets?" "This is a misunderstanding," Hayemi said quickly. "Earth would never harm innocent people." But even as she spoke, she could see that her words were not enough. The other ambassadors were remembering stories about Earth, the dangerous Deathworld, where creatures fought constantly for survival. They thought about human movies and books that showed wars and violence. To them, a fleet of 200 human warships looked like the beginning of a galactic war. Ambassador Zilith's blue glow became dimmer, which meant she was deeply worried. "Ambassador Rowe, I am ordering the immediate evacuation of all non-military vessels from the Outer Rim region. If your government wishes to conduct military operations there, they must do so without endangering innocent civilian traffic." "But the evacuation will cause panic throughout the galaxy," Hayemi protested. "Other species will think Earth is starting a war." "The appearance of your fleet has already caused that panic," Zilith replied. "We are simply taking precautions to protect our citizens." As the ambassadors left her office to organize their evacuations, Hayemi sat alone at her desk, feeling helpless. She tried again to contact Earth, but the messages would take too long. To travel through space. By the time she could explain the situation to her government, the human fleet would already be in the Outer Rim. Meanwhile, throughout the galaxy, news of the human fleet movement spread like wildfire. On peaceful trading stations, merchant ships began changing their routes to avoid the Outer Rim. On military bases, alien commanders put their fleets on high alert, unsure of human intentions. The Villani, the peaceful aliens whose exploration ship had sent the original signal, had no idea that their routine transmission had caused such massive confusion. Their ship, Whispered Dawn, continued its slow journey through space, with the crew composing their traditional travel songs and enjoying the beauty of the stars. Captain Bei Jiho, a human cultural exchange officer aboard the Villani ship, was in the art gallery admiring their latest musical composition when his emergency communicator started beeping. The message from Earth Command confused him completely. "Massive rescue fleet deployed to your sector," he read aloud. "What rescue fleet? What emergency?" He showed the message to Captain Vel Harmony, the Villani ship commander. The gentle alien looked at the message with large, curious eyes. "I do not understand," Captain Vel Harmony said in her soft, musical voice. "We have sent no distress calls. Our journey is peaceful and joyful." Captain Bay felt a terrible suspicion growing in his mind. "What kind of messages have you been sending to space?" "Only our traditional travel songs," Captain Vel Harmony replied. "We share the beauty of our journey with any who wish to listen." Bay asked to hear their recent transmissions. As the beautiful Villani music played, he realized what might have happened. The poetic language about darkness and isolation could easily be misunderstood by humans who did not know Villani culture. "We need to send a message to the human fleet immediately," he said. "I think there's been a terrible mistake." But when he tried to contact the approaching fleet, his small communication system was too weak to reach them across the vast distances of space. The massive human armada continued racing toward them, believing they were rushing to save lives, while the peaceful Villani had no idea that 200 of the galaxy's most powerful warships were coming to rescue them from a danger that did not exist. All across the galaxy, alien civilizations watched nervously as Earth's largest military force moved toward the outer rim. Some prepared to flee, others prepared to fight, and all of them wondered if the humans from the dangerous Deathworld were finally showing their true violent nature. Admiral Kang Siwan stood in the command center of the massive battleship Iron Thunder, watching the stars streak past through the main viewing window. His fleet had been traveling through hyperspace for 12 hours, and they would reach the Outer Rim sector in 6 more hours. Around him, his officers worked quietly at their stations, preparing for whatever they might find. Lieutenant Jin Sua approached with a data pad in her hands. She looked worried, which was unusual for the normally confident intelligence officer. "Admiral, I have completed my analysis of the situation in the Outer Rim sector," she said. "What did you find?" Admiral Kang asked. Lieutenant Jin activated the main display screen. It showed a map of the Outer Rim with various markers indicating known threats and hostile activities. "Sir, based on the location of the distress signal and recent intelligence reports, I believe the aliens may have encountered the Skarathi Empire." Admiral Kang felt his jaw tighten. The Skarathi were one of the most dangerous military powers in the galaxy. They were a reptilian species that conquered weaker civilizations and enslaved their populations. Humans had never fought them directly, but Earth intelligence knew they were ruthless and powerful. "Explain your reasoning," the Admiral said. "The distress signal came from Grid Sector 7 Alpha, which is right on the edge of Skarathi space. 3 months ago, our long-range sensors detected Skarathi scout ships in nearby systems. The timing and location suggest they may have expanded their territory." Lieutenant Jin brought up more data on the screen. "Also, sir, the language in the distress call mentions darkness and losing hope. These phrases match reports from other species that have been attacked by the Skarathi." Admiral Kang studied the information carefully. The Skarathi Empire was known for making surprise attacks on peaceful ships, capturing the crews, and forcing them to work as slaves in their mining operations. If innocent aliens had fallen into Skarathi hands, they would need help quickly. "How long can civilians survive in Skarathi prison ships?" he asked. "Intelligence reports suggest they have very poor conditions, sir. If the aliens were captured 3 days ago when we first received the signal, they might only have a few more days before—" Lieutenant Jin did not finish the sentence, but Admiral Kang understood. "Understood. Continue monitoring all communications. If the Skarathi are operating in that sector, they might intercept our approach." Admiral Kang called a meeting with his senior commanders. Within an hour, the main conference room was filled with captains and officers from throughout the fleet. Captain Yoon Do-hyun sat at the table, along with Captain Oh Min-jae from the stealth ship Shadow Walker and Dr. Shin Yoon-ji, the chief medical officer. "The situation may be more serious than we initially thought," Admiral Kang began. He shared Lieutenant Jin's analysis about the possible Skarathi involvement. Captain Yoon leaned forward. If the Skorathi have captured civilian aliens, we need to be ready for a rescue operation, not just a recovery mission. My Marines are trained for boarding actions against enemy ships. We should also prepare for the possibility that the civilians are already dead, Captain O said grimly. The Skorathi don't usually keep prisoners for long unless they have specific value as slaves. Dr. Shin Yunji looked sad. I've read reports about Skorathi treatment of prisoners. If any aliens are still alive, they will need immediate medical attention. Admiral Kang nodded. We will prepare for all possibilities. Captain Yoon, I want your Marines ready for immediate deployment. Captain O, your stealth ships will scout ahead and gather intelligence before the main fleet arrives. What are our rules of engagement, sir? Captain Yoon asked. Admiral Kang thought for a moment. This was Earth's first major military operation in alien space. The decisions he made here could affect how the galaxy saw humanity for generations. Our primary mission is to rescue innocent civilians, he said finally. If Skorathi forces are holding prisoners, we will demand their immediate release. If they refuse, we will take them by force. And if they decide to fight? Captain O asked. Then they will learn why humans are called Deathworlders, Admiral Kang replied. We did not bring 200 ships to negotiate. The meeting continued for 2 more hours as the commanders planned their approach. They studied Skorathi's ship, designs and tactics, prepared boarding strategies, and coordinated medical facilities for rescued aliens. Captain Nam Tae-hyung joined the meeting by video link from his diplomatic vessel. Admiral, I should point out that we have no official diplomatic relations with the Skorathi Empire. If we attack their ships, it could be considered an act of war. If they have captured innocent civilians, they are the ones who started this, Admiral Kang said. Earth will not stand by while peaceful aliens are enslaved. After the meeting, Admiral Kang returned to his private office. He looked at the photographs on his desk, including one of his family back on Earth. His daughter had just started university, and his wife worked as a teacher. They lived in a peaceful world because people like him were willing to fight for what was right. He thought about the unknown aliens trapped somewhere in the darkness of space. They probably had families, too. Children who wondered why their parents had not come home. Parents who worried about their missing sons and daughters. The Admiral activated his personal communication system and recorded a message to send back to Earth. Defense Command, this is Admiral Kang. We are 6 hours from the target zone. Intelligence suggests Skorathi involvement in the capture of civilian aliens. My fleet is prepared for immediate combat operations if necessary. The galaxy will learn. Today that Earth protects the innocent, regardless of the cost. He sent the message and returned to the command center. His officers worked with quiet efficiency, checking weapon systems and preparing for battle. The massive ships of the fleet moved through hyperspace like sharks swimming toward their prey. Captain O. Minjae's stealth ship, Shadow Walker, was already ahead of the main fleet. His vessel was designed to be invisible to most sensors, allowing him to scout enemy positions without being detected. In 2 hours, he would drop out of hyperspace near the target zone and gather intelligence for the Admiral. Throughout the fleet, soldiers and sailors prepared for their first real test in alien space. Many of them were young and had never seen combat, but they were all volunteers who believed in Earth's mission to protect the innocent. They did not know that the captured aliens were actually safe and happy on their peaceful exploration ship. They did not know that there were no Skorathi ships in the area. They did not know that they were racing toward the most embarrassing rescue mission in galactic history. All they knew was that somewhere in the dark, innocent people needed help, and Earth's finest warriors were coming to save them. Captain Bei-Jiho woke up in his comfortable cabin aboard the Vellani exploration ship Whispered Dawn. The walls were covered with beautiful art that the Vellani crew had created during their journey. Soft, pleasant music played from hidden speakers, and the lighting was warm and gentle, like a sunrise on a peaceful morning. As the human cultural exchange officer, Bei had been living with the Vellani for 6 months, learning about their society and helping them understand human culture. It was the best job he had ever had. The Vellani were the most peaceful, artistic people he had ever met. He dressed in the flowing robes that the Vellani preferred and walked to the common area where the crew gathered each morning. The ship's interior looked more like a floating art gallery than a spacecraft. Every surface was decorated with paintings, sculptures, and flowing designs that seemed to move in the soft light. Captain Vel Harmony was waiting for him with a cup of the warm, sweet drink that the Vellani enjoyed. She was a tall, graceful being, with pale blue skin and large, kind eyes. Like all Vellani, she moved with a dancer's grace and spoke in a voice like music. "Good morning, friend Bei," she said. "Did you sleep well?" "Very well, thank you," Bei replied. "What beautiful songs did the crew compose yesterday?" Captain Vel Harmony's eyes sparkled with joy. "Oh, we created some of our finest work yet. We have been inspired by the magnificent emptiness of deep space. The way the stars shine against the darkness reminds us of diamonds scattered on black silk." She led him to the ship's main gathering hall, where 30 Vellani crew members sat in a circle. They were working together on their latest composition, a musical story about their journey through the galaxy. One Vellani played an instrument that sounded like wind chimes while others sang in harmony. The Vellani called these works Songs of the Void. They believed that space travel was a spiritual experience that should be shared with the universe. Every few hours, they broadcast their music and poetry to anyone who might be listening. Bei sat down with the crew and listened to their latest creation. The song was about traveling far from home, but it was not sad. Instead, it celebrated the adventure of discovery and the beauty of unknown places. The Vellani sang about dancing with the darkness and embracing the infinite silence. "It's beautiful," Bei said when they finished. "Will you broadcast this one today?" "Of course," said Vel Melody, the ship's communications officer. "We sent our morning greeting an hour ago, and we will share this new song with the universe after our midday meal." Bei smiled and nodded, but he felt a small worry in the back of his mind. The Vellani language was very poetic and could be difficult to translate correctly. He had learned their language during his time with them, but he knew that human translation computers might have trouble understanding their beautiful, complex way of speaking. After the musical session, Bei joined Dr. Vel Wonder in the ship's science laboratory. The Vellani scientist was studying samples of cosmic dust that they had collected during their journey. Unlike human scientists who worked quickly and efficiently, Dr. Vel Wonder approached his research like an artist creating a masterpiece. "Each tiny particle tells a story," Dr. Vel Wonder explained as he examined the samples under a microscope. "This dust has traveled across the galaxy for millions of years. It has seen the birth and death of stars." Bei looked through the microscope and saw the beautiful crystalline structures that the cosmic dust formed. The Vellani had a way of finding art and meaning in everything, even microscopic particles. "Your people have such a different way of seeing the universe," Bei said. "And your people have taught us much about strength and determination," Dr. Vel Wonder replied. "Humans face challenges directly, while we prefer to flow around them like water. Both approaches have value. They spent the morning working together, with Dr. Velwander explaining Vellani science while Bay shared human research methods. It was exactly the kind of cultural exchange that both species hoped to achieve. At midday, the crew gathered for their communal meal. The Vellani ate fruits and grains that tasted like nothing Bay had ever experienced on Earth. Everything was prepared with artistic care, and the meal was as beautiful to look at as it was delicious to eat. During lunch, Vel Melody announced that she was ready to broadcast their new song to the galaxy. The crew gathered around the communication station, excited to share their latest creation. "Should I include the usual location information?" Vel Melody asked. "Yes," Captain Vel Harmony replied. "Tell the universe where we are and what we are doing. Perhaps other travelers will hear our song and know they are not alone in the vast darkness." Bay listened as Vel Melody prepared the transmission. She began with their standard greeting, which described their location and their peaceful mission of exploration. Then she added poetic descriptions of their journey, talking about how they moved through the endless night and how their spirits remained strong despite being surrounded by the cold embrace of the void. To the Vellani, these were beautiful expressions of the spiritual experience of space travel. To human computers trying to translate their language, the words sounded like cries for help from people trapped in a dangerous situation. As Vel Melody sent the transmission, Bay felt his communicator vibrate. He had received a message from Earth, but he decided to wait until after lunch to read it. The Vellani meal rituals were important, and he did not want to be rude. After eating, the crew returned to their various activities. Some worked on new art projects, others studied the stars, and a few took naps in the comfortable rest areas. The ship moved slowly through space, in no hurry to reach its destination. Bay finally checked his communicator and read the message from Earth Command. His face went pale as he read about a massive rescue fleet heading toward their location. "Captain Vel Harmony," he called urgently. "I need to speak with you immediately." The Vellani captain came to him with concern in her large eyes. "What troubles? You, friend Bay. According to this message, Earth believes you sent a distress call. They are sending a huge military fleet to rescue you." Captain Vel Harmony looked confused. "A distress call? But we are not in distress. Our journey is peaceful and joyful." Bay showed her the message, and she read it carefully. Her expression changed from confusion to worry as she understood what had happened. "They misunderstood our songs," she said softly. "Our beautiful expressions of the spiritual journey through space. They thought we were calling for help. We need to contact the fleet immediately and explain the mistake," Bay said. But when they tried to send a message, they discovered that their communication system was too weak to reach the distant human ships. The fleet was still many hours away, but moving at high speed through hyperspace. Captain Vel Harmony called the crew together and explained the situation. The Vellani listened with growing amazement as they learned that their peaceful songs had been interpreted as cries for help. "How many ships are coming?" asked Dr. Velwander. "According to the message, over 200 warships," Bay replied. The Vellani crew looked at each other in shock. They had never seen a military vessel in their lives. Their entire society was based on peace, art, and harmony. The idea of 200 warships was completely beyond their experience. "What should we do?" Vel Melody asked. "We wait," Captain Vel Harmony said calmly, "and we prepare to welcome our human friends with the greatest hospitality we can offer. This misunderstanding has brought us together, and perhaps that was meant to be." As the day continued, The Villani crew tried to continue their normal activities, but everyone felt nervous about the approaching fleet. They had heard stories about human military power, and they could not imagine what it would be like to see so many warships in one place. They spent the afternoon trying to compose a message that might reach the fleet, but their small ship simply did not have enough power to send signals across such vast distances. All they could do was wait and hope that the situation could be resolved peacefully when the humans arrived. The Villani had no idea that their innocent songs had caused panic throughout the galaxy, or that alien civilizations were evacuating the area in fear of human aggression. They continued to broadcast their music to the stars, still believing that beauty and art were the best gifts they could share with the universe. Admiral Kang Siwan stood on the bridge of the Iron Thunder, watching the countdown timer reach 0. Around him, 200 human warships prepared to drop out of hyperspace. The moment they had all been waiting for was finally here. All ships, report ready for combat emergence, Lieutenant Commander Park announced. Weapon systems are charged and ready, reported the tactical officer. Medical facilities prepared for casualties, added Dr. Shin Yunji through the communication system. Admiral, Kang took a deep breath. In a few seconds, they would know what kind of situation they faced. If hostile forces were holding innocent aliens prisoner, this could become the largest space battle that Earth had ever fought. Execute emergence, Admiral Kang ordered. The stars stopped streaking past the windows, and suddenly the fleet was back in normal space. 200 massive warships appeared in a perfect tactical formation, their weapons charged and shields raised. The sight was magnificent and terrifying at the same time. Sensor sweep complete, the sensor officer announced. I'm detecting one small vessel at the coordinates of the distress signal. No other ships in the immediate area. Admiral Kang felt confused. Where were the Skorathi? Where were the hostile forces that had captured the innocent aliens? Can you identify the vessel? He asked. It appears to be civilian, sir. Very small, maybe 50 meters long. Unusual design, not matching any known species in our database. Captain. Oh, Minjae's voice came through the communication system from his stealth ship. Admiral, I've been observing the target vessel for the past hour. No signs of damage, no weapons, no defensive systems. It's just sitting there broadcasting some kind of music. Music? Admiral Kang asked. Yes, sir. Continuous transmissions on multiple frequencies. It's actually quite beautiful. Admiral Kang looked at his tactical display. The alien ship was so small that one of his destroyers could destroy it with a single shot. This was definitely not a Skorathi prison ship. Hail the vessel, he ordered. Lieutenant Commander Park tried to establish communication. No response to our standard contact protocols, sir. They might not understand our language. Admiral Kang felt frustrated. His massive fleet had traveled across the galaxy to rescue these aliens, but now he could not even talk to them. Keep trying. Use every translation program we have. Meanwhile, aboard the small Villani ship whispered Dawn. Captain Bei Jiho watched in amazement as the human fleet appeared around them. He had never seen so many warships in one place. Each human dreadnought was larger than most space stations. By the harmony of the spheres, Captain Vel Harmony whispered. How many ships are there? Over 200, Bei replied, feeling overwhelmed. This is the largest fleet Earth has ever assembled. The Villani crew gathered around the main viewing port, staring at the incredible sight. The human ships were dark and angular, designed for war rather than beauty. They looked dangerous and powerful, like mechanical predators surrounding a small flower. They came all this way to help us, Vel Melody said softly. Even though we were never in danger. Captain Vel Harmony activated their communication system. We should welcome them properly. Begin broadcasting the traditional greeting of joy and gratitude. The Volani ship began transmitting a beautiful musical composition, with lights flashing in complex patterns across its hull. To the Volani, this was the most respectful way to greet honored guests. Aboard the Iron Thunder, the tactical officer watched his screens with growing alarm. "Admiral, the alien vessel is powering up some kind of system. Energy readings are increasing across their hull." "Weapons?" Admiral Kang asked quickly. "Unknown, sir. The energy pattern is unlike anything in our database. Captain Lim Ji-yeon of..." The heavy cruiser Storm's Edge was monitoring the situation from her position in the fleet formation. When she saw the alien ship's lights beginning to flash, her military training kicked in. "Admiral, this could be a weapon charging sequence," she reported. "Recommend we prepare for defensive action." Admiral Kang felt his heart racing. Was this peaceful-looking ship actually some kind of trap? Were there hidden weapons that his sensors could not detect? "All ships, raise shields and prepare for combat," he ordered. "Do not fire unless fired upon." The massive human fleet shifted into a defensive formation around the small alien ship. Hundreds of weapons turned toward the whispered dawn, ready to destroy it at the first sign of hostile action. Inside the Volani ship, Bay could see the human weapons targeting them. He felt terrified, but he also understood why the fleet was being cautious. From their perspective, they had come to rescue hostages and found a strange alien ship with unknown capabilities. "Captain, we need to stop the light display immediately," he said urgently. "The humans think it might be a weapon." Captain Vel Harmony looked shocked. "A weapon? But this is our most sacred greeting ceremony." "I know, but they don't understand Volani culture. Please, turn off the lights before someone gets hurt." The Volani captain quickly ordered the greeting display to stop. The lights on their ship went dark, and the music transmission ended abruptly. Aboard the human fleet, the sudden change in the alien ship's behavior made everyone even more nervous. Energy readings just dropped to 0, the tactical officer reported. Whatever they were doing, they stopped. "Could be a malfunction," suggested Lieutenant Jin Sua, "or they might be preparing for a different kind of attack." Admiral Kang stared at the small ship floating in the middle of his massive fleet. Nothing about this situation made sense. Where were the hostiles? Where were the captured aliens who had sent the distress call? "Try to establish communication again," he ordered. "Use every method we have." This time, the communication worked. Captain Bay's voice came through the speakers on the Iron Thunder's bridge, speaking in perfect English. "Human fleet, this is Captain Bay Jiho of the Cultural Exchange Program. Please do not fire. We are not in any danger." Admiral Kang felt a moment of relief, followed by deep confusion. "Captain Bay, we received a distress call from your location. Are you being held prisoner?" "No, sir. There has been a misunderstanding. We are aboard a peaceful Volani exploration ship. There are no hostiles in this area." "Then who sent the distress call?" There was a pause before Bay answered. "Sir, I believe our translation computers misinterpreted Volani cultural transmissions. What you thought was a call for help was actually their traditional travel songs." Admiral Kang felt his face turn red with embarrassment. "Are you telling me that we brought 200 warships to rescue tourists?" "I'm afraid so, sir." The bridge of the Iron Thunder became very quiet. Officers looked at each other with expressions of shock and embarrassment. Throughout the fleet, similar reactions were occurring as the news spread from ship to ship. Admiral Kang had commanded fleets in battle, faced pirates and hostile aliens, and made life-or-death decisions that affected thousands of people. But he had never felt as foolish as he did at this moment. "Captain Bay," he said finally, "please invite the Villani representatives to come aboard my ship. I think we have a lot to discuss." As the small Villani shuttle prepared to leave their ship and visit the human flagship, news of the situation began spreading throughout the galaxy. Earth's massive military response to a misunderstood travel song was about to become the most talked-about event in galactic history. The human fleet remained in formation around the tiny Villani ship, hundreds of powerful warships protecting aliens, who had never needed protection at all. It was the most successful failed rescue mission that anyone had ever seen. 3 months after the Great Human Rescue Fleet incident, Ambassador Ro Hyemi sat in the Galactic Council chamber listening to the most unusual diplomatic session she had ever attended. Representatives from dozens of alien species were requesting formal protection agreements with Earth. "The gentle folk of Whisper Valley formally request human military protection for our merchant vessels," announced Ambassador Soft Breeze, a delicate butterfly-like being whose wings shimmered with rainbow colors. "The Crystal Singers of the Third Moon also wish to establish a defense partnership with the human government," added Ambassador Cleartone, whose crystalline body rang like bells when she moved. Ambassador Ro could hardly believe what she was hearing. Before the rescue fleet incident, most alien species had been nervous about human military power. Now they were asking Earth to protect them. President Zelith, the Crystalline Council leader, glowed with amusement as she addressed the chamber. "It seems that the human response to the Villani situation has had unexpected consequences throughout the galaxy." The consequences had indeed been unexpected. Within days of the rescue fleet's return to Earth, news of the incident had spread to every corner of known space. The story had grown with each telling, and now many aliens believed that humans would deploy massive fleets to protect any peaceful species that asked for help. General Yang Hanul, Earth's new military liaison to the Galactic Council, stood to address the assembled diplomats. She was a smart, experienced officer who had been chosen specifically to handle the diplomatic aftermath of the rescue mission. "Earth appreciates the trust that so many species have shown in our military capabilities," she said. "However, I must clarify that we cannot provide protection fleets to every system that requests them." "But you brought 200 warships to save 30 peaceful explorers," protested Ambassador Thickshell from the Colonian Federation. "Surely you can spare a few ships to protect our trade routes." General Yang smiled diplomatically. The Villani situation was unique. Earth's response was based on our interpretation of an emergency distress call. What she did not say was that Earth's military leaders were still embarrassed about the massive overreaction. Admiral Kang had been promoted and honored for his successful mission, but everyone knew that bringing 200 warships to rescue tourists was not normal military procedure. However, the political benefits had been enormous. Species that had once feared human aggression now saw Earth as the galaxy's protector. Trade agreements, cultural exchanges, and diplomatic partnerships were being offered to Earth faster than the government could process them. In another part of the galaxy, Captain Bei Jiho stood in the new Human Villani Cultural Center on the planet Harmony Prime. The facility had been built as a joint project between Earth and the Villani Republic, funded by donations from dozens of alien governments who wanted to honor the friendship that had grown from the rescue incident. "The opening ceremony will begin in 1 hour," announced Dr. Shin Yunji, who had left her military position to become the center's first human director. Representatives from over 50 species will be attending. Captain Bay nodded as he watched. Villani artists putting the finishing touches on a massive sculpture that told the story of the rescue fleet. The artwork showed the small Villani ship surrounded by protective human warships with light and music flowing between them. "Have you heard from Captain Vel Harmony recently?" Dr. Shin asked. "She transmitted her latest travel songs yesterday," Bay replied. "Her ship is exploring the Andromeda Gap with a human escort. After what happened, Earth Command decided that all Villani exploration missions should have military protection, even though they don't need it, especially because they don't need it. The escort ships are there to make sure that no one misunderstands Villani transmissions again." The irony was not lost on either of them. The Villani, who had never needed protection, now had human warships following them wherever they went. But both species had grown to enjoy the arrangement. The Villani loved having human friends to share their art with, and the human crews enjoyed the peaceful, beautiful environment aboard Villani ships. Back on Earth, Admiral Kang Si-won stood in his new office at Strategic Command Headquarters. His promotion to Supreme Admiral had come with responsibility for all of Earth's off-world military operations. On his desk was a stack of requests from alien governments asking for human military assistance. "Sir, we have another delegation requesting a protection agreement," announced his aide, Lieutenant Kim Min-jung. "The Flowering Trees Federation wants human patrols in their space." "What's their reason?" Admiral Kang asked. "They say that pirates have been threatening their agricultural worlds, but intelligence suggests the pirates are actually just aggressive merchants trying to negotiate better trade deals." Admiral Kang sighed. Ever since the Villani incident, it seemed like every minor diplomatic problem in the galaxy was being presented to Earth as a military emergency. Alien species had learned that humans would respond to any call for help with overwhelming force. "Schedule a meeting with their representatives," he said. "But make it clear that Earth's military is not a galactic police force." The truth was that Earth's military was becoming exactly that, whether they wanted to or not. The rescue fleet incident had established a precedent that was impossible to ignore. When peaceful species were threatened, they called Earth for help. Lieutenant Kim handed him another report. "Sir, this is the monthly summary of Earth's reputation in galactic affairs." Admiral Kang read the document with amazement. Before the Villani incident, Earth had been seen as a dangerous newcomer with aggressive tendencies. Now they were rated as the most trusted military power in the galaxy. Their approval rating among peaceful species was over 90%. How is this possible? He wondered aloud. According to the analysis, most species judge military powers by their restraint, not their aggression, Lieutenant Kim explained. When we brought 200 ships to rescue 30 civilians, we showed that human military power serves humanitarian purposes. And the fact that those civilians were never actually in danger, that made it even better, sir. It proved that we'll respond to any call for help even if we're not sure it's real. Admiral Kang thought about Captain Vel Harmony and her peaceful crew, traveling through the galaxy and broadcasting their beautiful songs to the stars. Their innocent poetry had changed the balance of power in galactic politics forever. Meanwhile, in the Outer Rim territories, Captain Nam Tae-hyung's diplomatic vessel Peaceful Current was conducting its 5th humanitarian mission of the month. His ship now carried a small fleet of support vessels, all dedicated to helping alien species with various problems. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission from the bubble people of Soap World," announced his communications officer. "They're requesting assistance with what they call a catastrophic emergency." Captain Nam had learned to be cautious about alien emergency calls. What kind of emergency? According to the translation, their soap bubbles are popping too quickly. They want human engineers to help them design better bubble-making technology. Captain Nam smiled and shook his head. This was exactly the kind of emergency that Earth's reputation now attracted. Species throughout the galaxy had learned that humans would help with any problem, no matter how small. "Set course for Soap World," he ordered. "Alert the engineering team that we have another humanitarian mission." As his ship changed direction, Captain Nam thought about how much the galaxy had changed since the Vellani incident. Earth had accidentally become the species that everyone called when they needed help. It was a responsibility that no one had asked for, but one that humans were surprisingly good at fulfilling. The rescue fleet that had been assembled to save 30 peaceful explorers had become a symbol of humanity's place in the galactic community. Earth was no longer seen as a dangerous death world, but as the planet whose people would travel across the galaxy to help strangers in need. It was the most successful diplomatic disaster in galactic history, and it had all started with a misunderstood song about the beauty of deep space. Captain Vel Harmony's latest transmission reached Earth that evening, carried across the galaxy by the communication networks that now eagerly shared Vellani art. Her song was about friendship and gratitude, dedicated to the humans who had come so far to help people they had never met. The galaxy listened to her music and remembered the day when 200 human warships had appeared to protect a single small ship. It was a story that would be told for generations, a reminder that sometimes the greatest victories come from the purest intentions, even when those intentions are based on beautiful misunderstandings.